The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Live and direct from the Nighthawk Network studios here in Detroit, Michigan, the city of my birth. It is your boy Eric Buckner, also known as E-Buck, the Nighthawk, and this, of course, is my Big Buck Sports Report for another week. Ready to talk a lot of sports with y'all, and it's a lot of sports to talk about, so we ain't gonna hold you up. Let's get into it. First of all, I want to start out with the NBA. As of course, you know, tonight there are very many games in progress, and we will break down some of the scores in a little bit. But I want to talk about the big thing going on in the NBA this week, which is the Ballyhoo Big Time in-season tournament. At least they want it to be. Again, I still don't say it's jumping off to the degree that they want it to. A lot of the talking heads trying to push that narrative today on the various shows, but still not quite into it. That being said, we are in the semifinals. We had the quarterfinals the last couple of nights. We are down to 4 teams with a shot at winning the tournament championship. Those 4 teams are the Lakers, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Indiana Pacers, and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, of course, it's clear to see that 2 teams, not big surprise that they're in it. That will, of course, be the Bucks and the Lakers, who I imagine would be most people's favorites to make it to the finals on Saturday. I believe they are Saturday. But of course, the Pacers and the team in New Orleans, they seem to be a bit more into it in terms of wanting to win. Remember, along with the trophy, each person on the team that is a player will receive an additional $500,000 for the winner. And I believe the second place people, I want to say they get like 125,000 per player. Now, we talking those type of numbers, and of course, for people like me, myself, and I, even a loser's cut would change my life existence right now. It really would. It would solve all my financial problems and then some for just that one little tournament. But on the other hand, for your NBA player that makes about $1.5 to $2 million a season, it's a nice drop in the bucket, but it's not the end of the world. So I can understand why some teams probably didn't really shoot for doing that. In terms of the other teams that are currently involved, it does seem like they are taking a more concerted effort to try to win this thing. Particularly, I would say the Lakers, because of course LeBron has talked a lot about it. I think it's in the best interest of the tournament if the Lakers are indeed the winners, because of course, one, with Los Angeles being the second largest market here in America, in the second largest city here in America, it makes sense that you would want a inaugural winner where more people are going to more likely tune in, even though LA is not the biggest sports town as we know. Then, of course, you have the other teams like Indiana, which is a big sports and basketball state, but not necessarily a big market. You got Milwaukee, who is Milwaukee. I mean, good team, but again, as my partner, he was saying he's not a fan of the tournament. Like I said, I'm having trouble getting into it myself. I really am. I promise you, I've only watched the highlights of those games. I did not watch them live. I think I will attempt to watch at least the finals when it's Saturday. I might tune in tomorrow for the semifinals. We'll see. But like I said, it would definitely be more helpful if teams that were in the quarterfinals, like a Boston or New York, had made it to this round. Those being larger sports markets, those things would help. Remember, the way to make this tournament jump off is to have big winners and let them be in from a bigger market, so that as the years to come, you get a bigger audience for it. Again, some of the things they try to do, like the changing of the floors, I was not a big fan of. Some of the alternate jerseys, most of the alternate jerseys in the NBA are crap. I gotta say that point blank, people. I'm not liking most of these alternative jerseys that they're coming up with. Either they look too fruity or they look too homemade. They try too hard to be connected to the city. I mean, like our 313 jerseys, for instance, not a big fan of those at all. He was checking back in. He's saying, I'm hoping that we can get some more excitement in the NBA period. Well, keep in mind, part of that comes from Hugh being a big football fan. And as y'all know, football is king. Even here on the show, I think more of y'all would love for me to talk more football right now than the NBA. But again, it's hard to really get into the early part of the NBA season, knowing that it's such a longer season than the NFL. I know that has part to play within it as well. I think it would be better if the tournament probably is a little bit later in the season. I understand it probably from a logistical standpoint, it was easier to set it up during the beginning of the season, but I think you might actually get more of a following if you put it in the middle of the season, closer to around when the All-Star game plays in February, perhaps. But, with it being wintertime and all that, I think that did come into play as to what the decision maker was. Then, of course, you definitely didn't want to have it in the midst of the playoff run. That would definitely kind of throw things a little wacky, especially schedule-wise. But I get it. I mean, bottom line is, if you guys are fans of it, then this is it. Let us know what your thoughts is. We are strongly encouraging you guys to leave more comments. We definitely are appreciating the increased fan base that we've gained in the last few weeks. I'm giving you that message from me and my partner Hugh as well. We definitely appreciate you guys tuning into the show. If you can always just leave a comment, just to let us know you stopped by and checked out a few minutes, we greatly appreciate it. We want to get some more commentary, some more audience partnerships and things show related, so that we know that we are doing what we need to do to make it better. That being said, let's move on. Like I said, tonight there are several games in progress. We will try to give you some scores throughout the show in regards to who is playing and how they're doing. Wednesday is a busy night for sports, so I understand why some of you bigger sports fans may not check into the show at that moment, but may check us out later on. We completely get it. We still appreciate you watching all the same. Right now, let's go into the NBA, where, of course, the Pistons are losing yet again. With 21 seconds to go, they are down 12 to Memphis. So I think we can safely assume that the Pistons are going to have their franchise record 16th loss, make that 17th loss in a row. Just ridiculous, man. Our team is an abomination. Keep in mind, I'm still claiming my team, people. Even in these bad, terrible times, I still claim to be a diehard Piston fan. It's hard to be a fan of a team that's this bad right now. It really is. Usually, even if your team is competitive, you would like to say that much. But hell, we lose it to one of the worst teams of basketball, and we lose it by double digits even. Some got to go on, people. Some got to go on. Changes need to be made, and they need to be made sooner than later. Hugh Schumann back in. He said this would definitely be more instant. It's hurting them to have it close to the end of the NFL season. Exactly. So, okay, let's move on to some of the other more pertinent scores. We got the Trailblazers and Warriors playing tonight at 10, but everybody else, with the exception of the Nuggets and Clippers, also at 10 tonight. Everybody else is playing now or are already done. Some of the scores we have is the Cleveland Cavaliers 101, Magic 86. No big surprise there. We got the Wizards 119, the 76ers 122. I'm wondering if Embiid played tonight. Otherwise, I really can't see this game being that close to the Wizards. Not for real. We got the Heat and the Raptors 80-68. We got the Spurs and the Timberwolves 58-55. I'm actually surprised that the Spurs are as bad as they are right now. You would think with Wembanyama, they would be winning a few games at least. Their record's almost as bad as the Pistons. We got the Bulls and the Hornets, two teams that probably need to be broken up at some point as well, 44-48 at half. Bulls over Hornets. We got also at the half, the Rockets 55, Thunder 50. Two teams that's actually doing better, that are showing signs of improvement. Pistons learned some lessons here. And we got the Mavericks 42, Jazz 31, starting off in the second quarter. So that is our NBA scores right now. Again, that's only a small portion of who's playing tonight. So let's get into some of the other teams and stuff playing. Let's talk a little NCAA college basketball. Let me check in on some of that right quickly. I actually want to give you guys the rankings for this week for both the men's and the women's and briefly discuss that. Right now, the number one ranked team in the country on the men's side is actually the Arizona Wildcats. Very scrappy bunch. I have seen them play this year. They play some very good ball. They have a lot of elder classmen on that team, and it's definitely something. We got Pride checking into the show. I thought the purpose of the NBA tournament was to try and add interest to what is seen as the slowest part of a long season, particularly during football. Well, I think you called it right there, Pride. You as a basketball fan, because I think unlike you would much rather watch basketball than football. And you yourself seem to be saying that you are not quite as interested in the tournament. So I think their objective is not being reached. I have to be honest. And keep in mind, if in the end, let's just say the worst team in that bunch to win that would probably be New Orleans. So New Orleans won that tournament. I'd be hard pressed to want to watch it again next year without some significant tweaks and changes to it. I'm sure the NBA and anybody monetarily involved in that definitely want to see the Lakers win that, or at least see Milwaukee win it and have Giannis just go off, or even Dame Dollar go off in that game. You definitely want to see a Milwaukee Laker final. Bottom line, a New Orleans and Indiana final. Ain't no way I'm watching that Saturday. I wouldn't watch that as a regular season game unless it probably was the only regular season game and there was nothing else of interest in college, anything else to watch. So, yeah, the purpose is not serving well. There's basic WNBA games that I probably would want to watch over that, to put it in a perspective that Pride would understand, as much as he has a disdain for the WNBA. But anyway, back to the college basketball. Like I said, number one ranked Arizona, good team. I definitely see them being in the top 5 for a minute. You got Kansas University at number 2, led by young Hunter Dickinson, the former Wolverine. They look very solid. I definitely see them having a very good year. I definitely see them in the tournament. I could definitely see them going back to the Final Four with that team as they have it. They do have both good big guard play. They got big men play. They pretty much got everything you need to be on a long NCAA run. You got Houston at number 3. Haven't really watched them much. Houston has been highly ranked these last few seasons. They tend to make tournament, but don't tend to make as much noise when they get there. So we'll see how that goes. Purdue is number 4. Edey definitely more agile as a big man this season. Bottom line, Purdue goes as far as he goes. If he is scoring in the paint and is not getting into foul trouble, they are a very hard team to beat because he is a very large man. If he is not playing so well, them not so much. You got UConn, the national champions, at number 5. They, again, still have a very good team. Their big man also very dominant in the post. They are a better defending team, so I definitely like them to move up somewhere down the line. I mean, finishing up the top 10 right quick, you got Baylor at number 6, Gonzaga at number 7. Gonzaga always there, but we know what happens tournament time. 8, Marquette, a very good team, Shaka Smart's crew. Number 9, North Carolina, and number 10, Creighton. Do not sleep on any of the Big East teams. They played very well last year in the tournament and during the regular season. They continue to have teams that are doing well this year as well. If you are curious about where teams like Duke are, Duke is ranked 22nd. And keep in mind, no Michigan or Michigan State in this top 25. A rarity indeed. But keep in mind, both of those teams about 500 right now. We'll have to see if they can get it together during the Big Ten season. All right, anyway, that is the men's rankings at this point. On the women's side, let's quickly go through those right quick. The top 10. At number 1, you have the South Carolina Gamecocks. Again, they're on a roll, much like they were last year. I will scarcely say they look to be an even better team this year so far than they were last year. They are more evenly distributed. They are not so Aaliyah Boston dominant, seeing Aaliyah is no longer there. They are spreading the wealth, and they got good big play and good little play. They are very tough on defense, much like the coach that coaches them. Right now, they've pretty much been steamrolling through their opponents. I'm very much liking them. UCLA is number 2. They got a good big guard and big woman tandem. They got Lauren Best that was at Stanford last year. Didn't quite get as much playing time because they had, of course, Cameron Brink. But she is definitely loving life in UCLA. And, of course, the guard they have, I forget her name. Her name escapes me, but she is very good as well. Put a whooping on my UConn Lady Huskies. North Carolina State ranked number 3 this week. Very interesting. Keep in mind, teams they beat were UConn and a couple other good teams so far. So they're not a flash in the pan. And Iowa is ranked 4th. Iowa played tonight. Caitlin Clark doing Caitlin Clark things. I think when all is said and done, by the end of the season, she will be the number 1 all-time scorer in women's college basketball. Remarkable. Just remarkable. You got Texas at number 5. Finishing out the top 10, you got USC at number 6. If you have not seen Juju Watkins for USC, the number 1 ranked college recruit coming into this season, you definitely want to check out some highlights of her on YouTube. She is one bad woman. Okay? Juju Watkins ain't nothing to play with. She is that real deal. Like I said, Caitlin Clark might be what's happening now, but Juju is definitely the future. She is dominant, offensively and defensively. You get a chance, by all means, check out USC. Juju Watkins had 30-point games, 5 of her first 8 games, I believe. It's ridiculous. She is awesome. You got LSU at number 7, still doing their thing, former national champions. You got Colorado. Even after beating LSU, they still having a great season, ranked number 8. Shout out to LaTanya Watson, former Eastern Michigan Eagle point guard, who is part of that coach staff over there in Colorado. Person that I am familiar with. What up, T? You got number 9, Stanford at 8-1, and of course Baylor finishing out the top 10 at 7-0. Notice, people, I noticed. There is no Lady UConn Huskies in this top 10. Think about that for a minute. Not only was UConn number 1 for much of the decade before this, but they were always at least top 3, top 5. UConn actually this week is ranked number 17th. This is their lowest ranking in over 20 years. Over 20 years. Think about that. For a program that has been so dominant throughout college in the last 20 years, for them to be a mere 4-3, I believe that would be 5-3 after tonight's win over Ball State. Ball State really nothing to worry about. Yeah, troubled times have definitely come to my peoples. Hopefully they can pick it up. Keep in mind, they do have one of the toughest schedules in the country this year, but even still, you expect better. Like I said, they've been doing it. Once you get used to that type of winning, it's kind of hard to see it different. Trust me, I understand. Yeah, so that's pretty much it in terms of the women's. Again, there are scores tonight. I'll give you a couple of them right quick because, again, it's so many college teams playing tonight. We take up half the show with this. You got Texas. This is the women's scores, by the way. Number 5, Texas, 71-26 over Long Beach State. They're destroying these women, okay? It's still halfway through the third. You got Virginia Tech, 98-50 over Long Island. You got Notre Dame, 96-42 over Lafayette. A lot of blowouts tonight, y'all. You got South Carolina. They destroyed Morgan State, okay? 104-38. You heard me. 104-38. I believe that's the 5th time this season South Carolina has scored over 100 points. For women college basketball, that's phenomenal. You got North Carolina, 81-66 over Burrow. And, of course, like I said, my UConn Lady Huskies played tonight. They did win 90-63 over Ball State. And even that's kind of semi-acceptable because, again, usually this time of year when UConn plays a non-traditional opponent of that caliber, they usually blow them out by several dozens of points. Not so much. People not scared of UConn no more, y'all. Not at all. Okay, on the men's side, right quick before we move on, let me give you some of those men's scores right quick. You got number 3 Houston beating Rice 53-27, and they still got about 11 minutes to go. You got Texas actually losing to Marquette right now, 55-36. That Marquette squad pretty good, like I said. You got Colorado State, Denver playing. That's still early on. You got Nebraska, Minnesota just starting up. You had Miami at number 15 tonight, blowing out Long Island 97-49. Appears that Long Island program ain't that good. Okay, we got Pride checking back in. They need to add a mercy rule. The amount of blowouts make the whole league look bad. In terms of some of the women's scores, particularly early on in the season, I would agree. Some of them scores just be ridiculous. I mean, the one last week, I believe, was like 120-20. It was extra bad. I forget what team that was, but they mollywopped, okay? They mollywopped. Now, keep in mind, there's only one real college football game of note coming up this week. That's the Army-Navy game. Both of those teams 5-6 this year, so it should be a pretty even game. I'm kind of interested to see how it turn out. Right now, let's go. Where are we going? We've talked NBA. We've talked the college and basketball. Let's talk a little baseball right quick, shall we? Keep in mind, the winter meetings, the famous winter meetings are taking place. I believe they are, I want to say they're in Hawaii. Somewhere like that. It's somewhere warm there. I know that much. Keep in mind, I'm interested, but not. If I was, I would have had that information for you. Let's be honest. But of course, the winter meetings are usually where all the major trades jump off before the season starts, as all the GMs and stuff are usually all together in that one place, and they playing let's make a deal with each other. The two main deals that have yet to transpire, but we are definitely expecting to happen sometime this week. The one is for the Juan Soto sweepstakes, where right now most people are saying that he is more likely than not going to the New York Yankees, who are always seemingly willing to buy their way into a championship. They are working out the logistics, but they say more than likely in the next 48 hours, we will see a trade between them and the San Diego Padres. San Diego Padres basically got too much money on payroll now to be where they are. So they are definitely trying to cut some of that payroll down and get rid of some of those big names that's not producing quite as well as they thought they would. Soto is like in his mid-20s, so it's definitely a good deal for the Yankees. I think he will play very well in Yankee Stadium. Keep in mind, he is an outfielder that is above average. He does not need to be a great outfielder to play Yankee Stadium, small as their outfield is compared to other ballparks. And, of course, from a hitting standpoint, Yankee Stadium is the home run hitter's delight. You know that. Most home run hitters make out very well in Yankee Stadium due to the short porches in both left and right. So I do believe Juan Soto will definitely benefit from that. Not to mention, I think overall, pitching in the American League, not quite as good as the National League. So I think he'll make out a little better from that standpoint, even though now we are in limited times where all teams will play all teams, but it's still more American League dominant with American and national. You know how that goes. The other big prospect, of course, is this man right here. The one that we all are waiting to see where he is going to go. That would be one Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani, you know that dude. He is, beyond a doubt, the best overall player in baseball right now, in my estimation, and that of many others. Yes, we do know he has had the surgery and will not be pitching next year, but still quite the dangerous man at the plate, even in that situation. And we also know that he will be back pitching eventually. The price tag is the one thing. Anybody's thinking he's going to make anywhere from $450 the $550 million on this next contract. All the big boys are pretty much lining up to see where it's going. It is said that Ohtani is having meetings with people and he's preferring them not to discuss who he's had meetings with. That is what his agent said. Keep in mind, Dodgers gave no damn. They did make it known, at least the manager, Mr. Roberts, made it known that they talked to Ohtani. And my thing is, that's all bump when it comes to the Dodgers. I think we all know the Dodgers are one of the three teams he most definitely would go to. I think right now it boils down to four teams, really. You got, of course, the team he is with now, the Angels. He may have a soft spot for them to come on back and even take a slight discount because he liked it that much. Definitely the Dodgers are in the mix. The Dodgers have that money. They've been pretty much saving that money, especially now when you consider they're not going to re-sign Clayton Kershaw. So they have that money on the books as well. They definitely are in the mix of this. I do believe them to be the favorites, in fact. You have the Chicago Cubs who are looking to make a huge splash in free agency. You can't get no bigger than Ohtani. He definitely will put butts in the seats in Wrigley Field for sure. Not to mention, I think he would hit very well there as a left-handed hitter. And then, of course, the fourth team that's not being talked about as much, the Texas Rangers, who have just won the World Series and would love to add to the stack of those by adding Ohtani to the mix of what they already have. That would make them a very, very dangerous team indeed. So we got those four teams, and who knows who might sneak in there. The thing is he wants to make money. If it's a money thing, I think one team could just say, bump it. We're going to make it back some kind of way. All in. Let's buy this dude. Let's overpay him if necessary. Let's get him in. Lord knows a team like, say, the Twins or hell, the Tigers even pop out and end up with an Ohtani. You do know, Comerica Park would be rocking for sure. Every time that he pitched for sure. But even as a hitter, I think that would definitely put more butts in the seats. But I just don't think our organization would pony up that type of money for Ohtani myself. But anyway, I cannot wait to see where he ends up going. Again, we should know that sometime by the end of the week, and we definitely talk about it next week on the show. Keep in mind, in a couple minutes, we are going to go to the Guru's Football session and have a little discussion about the NFL this week with my buddy Hugh Lee. As I get that set on up, there are a couple other little things I would like to get into sports-wise. Remember, Tiger Woods did play last week in the tournament. He did relatively well. You know, he finished even par. You know, obviously he didn't win. He didn't even come close to winning, mind you. Hold on, people. Wait a minute. Jumped the gun. Sorry about that. But it was nice that he played and that he made out relatively well. There were no major injury concerns or issues. And again, his goal now is to try to play at least one tournament a month moving forward. I hope he is successful in that. As you see, his son Charlie is playing golf now also and seems to be pretty good at it. So perhaps we may see a scenario where Tiger Woods and Charlie Woods playing the same tournament one day, much like how LeBron wants to play with his son. That'd be pretty awesome, I think. Okay, we got another comment. Oh, look who's here, people. Road to Start TV. Friend Road is in the building. Hey, Eric. Hey, Road, what's happening? Now, of course, this is perfect timing for Road because we always have to acknowledge my home girl, one of the great supporters of the Nighthawk Network. And, of course, we have our very own promo that we made for Road. So y'all know where to follow her. Let's play that and we'll come right on back because you always got to show Road the proper respect up here in this house.
Please follow Road to start a on Blog Talk Radio or where most great music podcasts are located. Don't forget to subscribe and show some love.
Remember, do all those things that the commercial promo told you as far as road is concerned. Please follow my homegirl, Show the Love. I myself have started watching her on the Spotify. That seems to be the best thing that I get the best audio from. And I like to listen to Road Stardom Radio either on my way to bed or when I first get up in the morning, because Road on her Road to Stardom Radio, because imagine a radio station that plays all different types of music all the time. That is Road to Stardom Radio. Imagine a radio station that also talks about trending topics and celebrity news. That is Road to Stardom Radio. I think even if you don't listen every day, you will find something that you can enjoy sometime during the week, as Road to Stardom Radio is going on at least most of the week, if not every day in the week. Please check it out. I think you will dig it. Watching the Nets play with watching South Carolina, Morgan State, and Iowa. Yeah, Road is busy tonight watching all the sports. Like I said, there's a lot to choose from this evening, so I ain't mad at you. Like I said, if you got the clicker and flip around, you got the Fire Stick or whatever medium that you choose to watch the games on, by all means, get it in. Tonight is definitely a good night to watch you some sports. You even got hockey games and stuff going on. Hey, why not? Before we go to the show, let's check a couple hockey scores. You know, we do that every now and then. Let's see what we got going in the NHL this evening. All right, we just got a few games in NHL tonight. We got the Lightning and the Penguins playing on ESPN Plus. It is 3-0 Ning. You got the Stars and the Panthers 5-4. You got a high-scoring affair on that one. That one's actually on TNT tonight, people. And you got the Golden Knights, the hockey champions, against the Blues. It is 2-1 Blues at this point. And if you want to watch hockey a little later at 9:30, you got the Hurricanes at 14-9 playing the Edmonton Oilers at 9-12. Shout out, of course, to my Detroit Red Wings, who are very much in the midst of the playoffs right now. What up, though, Big Easy? What's happening? Keep in mind, people, after we do the big bucks show up in the show, which is the Guru's football session, I will come back and discuss my thoughts on the college football playoffs, and also give you my thoughts about the Heisman Trophy ceremony. I believe that is this weekend, and who I think will win the Heisman. But before all that, we are going to the Guru's football section. As always, I encourage you guys to listen. And hey, if you guys are tuned in like y'all did last week when we do the picks and want to give your picks, I so much enjoyed that. Please feel free to do that very thing. That was kind of cool. So that being said, without further ado, we give you the Guru's football session with my man Hugh Lee. Check it out. What up, my people? Another week, more sports. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the show within the show, the one we call the Guru's football session. And of course, we cannot do the Guru's football session without that dude we call the sports guru himself, Hugh D. Lee. There that man is right there. What up, Hugh?
What's good, man? Everything all right?
Hey, you know, everything chilling compared to last week. Things is lovely. But all that being said, brother, there's a lot going on, so we ain't going to hold you up. We're going to get it cracking. But first and foremost, people, we do know that in last week's NFL, it was some terrible games. Some terrible ones. So it's your show, Guru, but please, 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 brother, if you would, can we not talk about the following games from last week? The Patriots-Chargers game, the Falcons.
Told you that was going to be bad.
And basically them two, really. Any other game?
I told you that was.
I am more than open to talk about, but those two stank games, we can leave out our mouth, please.
Because what I've noticed about New England is that defense always seems like it's decent, but the offense is always trash, man. Like we talked about it before. They got 4 string guys playing wide receiver on that team. Enough being said, yeah, man, I want to move on and want to talk about some of them games too as well, man. Starting with the Thursday game, actually a pretty good game. Surprisingly, it was really high power scoring and it kept me interested throughout. Only problem I had with that game was it was a few calls that I thought that was suspect, man, and it seems like it was favorable for the Cowboys. No disrespect, but at the end of the day, when it came down to making a play, I just felt like the defense finally stepped up at the end because they really gave up a ton of points, man. I actually felt like too, Geno Smith actually outplayed Dak in that game. It was just that they defense did just enough at the end to have them win that game, 41-35. That was the final score, just in case people was asking. I really thought that it wasn't really that bad of a game. Geno threw for like 34 yards and three scores, and Dak basically had almost 300 yards and three touchdowns as well. But DK Metcalf, man, if he could continue to have consistent games, because that dude's very inconsistent. But if he continue to have games like that, man, he only had 6 receptions for like 134 yards and three scores. And that cross play, man, when he did that slant, man, he took that to the house, man. They rated that as the fastest run of the year right now in the NFL. And I just feel like they don't have enough of that on that team, man. No disrespect to Tyler Lockett. We already talked about him getting up in age. And my man's Njigba is decent and he's pretty explosive, but I just don't really see that team doing that, man. They just got enough to just look decent, but I don't ever think that they'll be one of those teams that'll be a threat in the playoffs, in my opinion.
It's hard because this time of year, a lot of teams is banged up, and some of them at very key positions. Geno not 100%, and pretty much you get Metcalf just not getting to 100% this year. So I know that played part in it. I hate to use any type of injury as an excuse as to why somebody won or lost for real. But that being said, I was just thankful that we had a competitive Thursday night game for a change, because y'all know some of these Thursday night games this year have been total and utter trash. But yeah, again, Seattle just one of them teams I don't really know what to do with. They just good enough to know that, yeah, they probably could make the playoffs, but I really don't see them doing much beyond that, much like another team we'll talk about later. Y'all know who it is, but they kind of like that.
Yeah, man, I definitely like the game in a whole. And you, like you said, you can still tell Geno's banged up, man. After that hit he took, on Thanksgiving, he hasn't really been the same. But the defense didn't play that bad at first, and then it was just like, man, it was no defense in that game. That was one of the worst defensive outings I've seen as far as with the Dallas Cowboys. Which if they don't fix that right now going into this next week of games, they'd be in a lot of trouble, man. So they're gonna have to definitely tighten that up. But all in all, that was a really good game and I enjoyed it. But I just still feel like, man, like you said, I'm just not really too interested in what Seattle has to offer. And unfortunately, you just so happen to be in a situation where you have the San Francisco 49ers in your division. So it's already spelling doom for you in the first place.
Hey, I just spoke my piece on that. Let's move on.
I want to go to the Lions and the Saints game. This is something that I was afraid about. And I just feel like, yeah, the Lions are doing better than a lot of people expected. But at the same time, man, there's a lot of stuff that I see as flaws with the team. You go up 21-0 in the first quarter, and then the game be that close, and it's to like 33-28, man. There's a lot of problems, man. And it all starts with the lack of athletic linebacker play. And then at the same time, besides Aiden Hutchinson, we don't really have that pass rush. And sometimes it seems like the offense get a little sluggish and get nonchalant, man, because it was a lot of 3-and-outs that gave the Saints opportunity to get back in the game.
I got to admit that Ragnow injury in the second quarter definitely played a role into why we did not score as much as I thought we should have. It's hard when you start the game out 21-zip the way we did, and it seemed like we was about to have a outlandish Miami Dolphins, Denver Broncos type situation going on. But again, that defense oftentimes fails us, man. Every week now, we picking up bits and pieces of folks, but it's pretty much people that didn't had issues in the past, older people that, if you heard their name 4-5 years ago, yeah, you'd be excited about a Bruce Irvin or somebody along them lines. But at age 38, not so much. The person we picked up this week, he will tell you that. If not, make sure that you check out the Sports Guru to You page. He always has the latest in terms of people that's being picked up and dropped off and so much. But these people just don't move the needle for me. And obviously, it don't improve the defense that much because every week now we having that discussion. I sound like a broken record, but I'll say it again. The Lions will only go in the playoffs as far as their defense will take them. We will be able to score on almost any team. The problem will be that defense.
Yeah, because I know C.J. Gardner-Johnson, they saying that he's getting healthier and he should be back soon, and we're supposed to be getting reinforcements. Houston's supposed to be back as well.
And I don't think either one of them make that big difference at all.
No. Tyson Alualu, I don't remember when the last time he played in the NFL, a rep, but he was decent when he played. But then, like I said, I don't remember the last time he played. And when it comes to just the defense all in all, that's basically our Achilles heel, because when the offense is clicking, they could be one of the best in the league, but that defense is problematic right now, man. And I still look at it right now, and while we've been looking at games and seeing what's been going on in the Tigers, the Lions organization, I'm still looking and I'm already doing stuff that they should have in a mock draft and the needs in a mock draft. And it's a lot of need on that defense still, man. So hopefully they can build, man. I definitely trust in what he does in the draft. But at the same time, man, if we were going to be good this year and you knew it, why not try to get some pieces like a pass rush or get something that can help us like linebacker play or whatever you can do right now to just basically see how far we can go. I just feel like they're just happy with the record we have, or just happy going into the playoffs, except for trying to make a deep playoff run. And that's been my biggest concern.
I mean, we definitely need help on all three levels of that defense, and we need depth at that defense. I think that should be the primary focus going into this offseason. Get better on defense, because we got plenty of offensive weapons, and they will get better. That being said, I'm really starting to wonder, did we even really need to get Peoples-Jones? He is a very, very non-factor thus far in his Lions career.
I don't even know the purpose of it right now, too. Now that you're starting to see J-Mo starting to excel and do a little better as far as his play, he's getting more confidence, getting more reps. And it's like, well, if that's the case, you should have just left Peoples-Jones where he was, man. Maybe gave a team like a Kansas City, who really needs some receivers right now, a chance to go after him, man. That probably could be an X factor for them right now, as bad as those receivers are in Kansas City.
If you want to do that young man a favor, I say you go on and cut him and let them pick him up. Hell.
I want to move on to the James Conner Bowl, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Arizona Cardinals. That game kind of surprised me, because when I seen it, I said, okay, man, what's going to happen here? Because it was two bad teams. But not only did James Conner really get off that game, he had 105 yards and 2 scores. But at the same time, they hurt Kenny Pickett, who I didn't have faith in. And now you got Mitchell Trubisky, who is not even really a good replacement, So I looked at that game and I said, man, what is going to be the chances for Pittsburgh right now? And not only that, I see the Cardinals keep winning games, man. So I want to know how many games will secure my man Kyler Murray staying with the Cardinals. And basically, I just want to see how their season end up right now, because I know right now they got a brand new coach, so I know they're just not going to get rid of him in his first year. But it's a lot of changes going to come with the Cardinals this season. But with Pittsburgh right now, man. They're still right there at 7-5, and they still have a chance for a playoff run, but it's not looking too good right now on their end neither. I want to know your thoughts.
It's so many 7-5, 6-6 type teams in AFC right now. They definitely still in the mix. The problem is, as bad as they were with Pickett, they that much worse with Trubisky. I mean, we understand Tomlin been doing an incredible job, and if they again make it over 500, you got to get him top 2-3 ranking in Coach of the Year category. But I really am hard pressed to see them doing anything but showing up in the playoffs. Participation trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the game, I could have definitely added this game with them other two that I mentioned because Connor, 105 yards, that's nothing. He got a couple touchdowns. Good for him. Look at how he got the touchdown. They were your typical, okay, we on the 9 and 10, we going to bust it in. It wasn't nothing over spectacular about his performance in that game. The only thing that was impressive is the fact that he did it against the Steelers, who tend not to give up a lot of rushing yards to anybody. But beyond that, that game really wasn't good. It wasn't.
You didn't take that off the list. I thought you was.
I should have, because I didn't even know you was going to go there.
Indianapolis Colts and Tennessee Titans. That was a really good game. A lot of people expected the Titans to play and step up to the bat, but it was a really good contest too, man. I was just really happy for Gardner Minshew because how well he played, man. The 312 yards and 2 scores, man, and he's been exceptional as a backup, man. You know, I think that him filling in right now for Anthony Richardson, it basically just breathed some life into that team. Because at first, when he got injured, man, I said, man, it's over with for the Colts, but Gardner Minshew definitely give him a chance. And right now, in that division, it's still a toss-up, man. There's a lot of stuff that happened, man, to still make that division more of a toss-up than we expected it to be. But what's up with the Tennessee Titans, though? 4-8 right now, man. They're saying right now they're not trying to do nothing with Vrabel and Vrabel to stand. But, yeah, man, do you expect for them to come out as sluggish as they are at 4-8? I see in the final score, too, was a final in an overtime that was 31-28, and the Colts ended up prevailing.
It was a good game, I must admit. I did actually watch a good part of that one. I like what I saw actually from both squads. They both are works in progress. I will say that. Gardner Minshew, you know I like Uncle Rico, man. You know we call him Uncle Rico because he looked like that dude from Napoleon Dynamite. But I feel like he probably will never really be a starter in this league, but he will always have a spot on somebody's bench as they back up because all that dude do is go into the game and give you a chance to win. And that's all you can ask of a good backup. You know, we got a good backup here. Fortunately, we have not needed him anyway. My man's. But give me a second. His name is
Teddy Bridgewater.
There we go.
Teddy Bridgewater.
That's it. Teddy Ball Game. That's the name I'm looking for in my mind because that's what we call it. But like I said, the Colts are a decent team. They do have some pieces that are very complimentary. I mean, they definitely need some more receivers. They definitely could use a little bit more help defensively. But I definitely like the direction that they're going. I just need that when my man's come back healthy, that he stays healthy. He got to be a runner in order to be an effective quarterback in his league with his skill set. But he just got to be smart about the runs that he makes. As far as Tennessee goes, we know Vrabel is a good coach. It's just a bad year for them. I mean, plain and simple. They done had some injuries. I don't feel like they're utilizing Henry the way they want to. I definitely think this is his last year in Tennessee, and that's part of why they basically feel like he's too old to pay any decent money to. But looking at Henry, he's still got a couple good more years in him. They just not going to be in Tennessee. But long story short, I like I said, I like that game. I like the direction that at least the Colts are headed. Tennessee obviously needs some work, and it's bad now because now we got the highest paid kick placement holder is Young Tannehill. he has been reduced to that.
That's funny too. And it's crazy because in that game, man, Derrick Henry went off, man, on 102 yards and 2 scores, but they still couldn't do much, man. D-Hop even had a decent game, but outside of them, who else stepped up, man? That's been a problem over there, man. It ain't enough weapons over there. And like you said, man, I think it's getting to the point where Derrick Henry and that contract, man, is going to be off of their books. And they're going to try to do a reset, man. I don't know if Will Levis is going to be the answer or not, or how they're going to go moving forward. But yeah, man, I feel like it's time for that team to try to move on, man, and try to do some rebuilding.
I think Levis deserves a chance to run that team for a little bit. I definitely would have him start next year with a reset of what's going on. As far as it's sad that. And you're not to get on you, Hugh, but it's sad that we say that running backs are going off and they only get 105 and 110 yards. But you really got to think about it, though. In this day and age of most teams having 2 and 3 running backs, 100 yards kind of the standard now. I mean, I'm sorry. I grew up in the age of Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith. Going off to me is 3 touchdowns, 200 yards, and things of that nature. But,
You'll never get
earlier because now that I really think about it, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, that is a damn good day for a running back nowadays.
Yeah, because you would never get that in the NFL no more, man. Like 200 yards, man. That'd be once every blue moon. I definitely don't see them having that now. Yeah, and it's sad, like you said, because we used to seeing workhorse running back. When, you know what, E, I want to know, man. I'm going to have to dig deep and I'm going to have to look into it and do a little research. When did they start getting 2-headed monsters, man, that you really knew of in the NFL that made, workhorse running backs distinct, man? I'm really going to kind of do my due diligence on that, man, and just really look into that a little.
Right. I mean, because it was a time where we had the SMU days. You remember when they had the Pony Express with James and one of the greatest running backs of all time. But that being said, you don't see that too much in the NFL. I mean, remember we had Alstott and Dunn back in the day for Tampa Bay? We had people like that.
Dang.
But for the most part, it's pretty much running back by committee with most of these teams.
Yeah. And they don't respect them financially, and that's why they ain't going to go into all that, paying them all those big salaries now, man.
Well, again, somebody had to come up short. It can't be the receivers. Tight ends making more money now. It's definitely not the line. The quarterbacks make more money than ever. Somebody had to come up short, and I guess it's the running back.
And it hurt, too, when you get guys like Pacheco. When you get Pacheco in the 6th round and you getting guys in the later rounds who lighten it up, too, it definitely don't help the case, too, man, unfortunately.
Right. Because I could definitely see, for example, next year, Blake Corum going in like a 4th or 5th round, but actually being a very impactful player on whatever team he end up going on.
I want to go on to the game that we thought was going to be really decent, and it definitely didn't disappoint me as well. Surprising some of the things that happened, but yeah, man, I want to talk about the Denver Broncos versus the Houston Texans, man. That was a really good game to me, man. The final score was Houston won 22, and the Denver Broncos came up short 17. It was a really good game, man. CJ Stroud did what he normally do, man. It's very impressive. Just really every game you look at him, man, you'd be surprised, but it just seems like he's so poised for a rookie. And when I look at it too, he definitely outplayed Russell Wilson. I think Russell was trying to do too much. He was trying to get some of that Seattle Seahawks Russ magic back, man. And nah, man, you need to kind of stay in your lane now and just do what you can do. Do what works for you right now. Because they had a good thing going, man, and then when he was trying to do too much, and then you see what happened at the end of that game. But yeah, man, I have to give more credit where credit's due too, man. That defense did really good, man. Stingley got 2 interceptions on Russ too as well, but just the rookies and the guys on the team haven't been there that long, like the Nico Collins, and it was unfortunate it happened to Tank Dell, but man, that's going to be a team to be reckoned with for a while, E, man. What are your thoughts, man?
I've been liking the Texans all year. I mean, I was kind of not that bad with them last year. I mean, think about it. Yeah, they had one of the worst records in football, but much like the Lions from the year before, they always is in most of those games that they lost. I mean, now they just starting to win a lot of those games. And again, Stroud he ain't nobody's rookie. I kind of don't even want to disrespect him no more by calling him a rookie because he definitely played with a veteran swag, and he is unquestionably the leader of that team at a young age. Yeah, I definitely hated what happened to Dale. Dale was basically his go-to guy. He was his Cooper Cup, so to speak. But no, Nico Collins is definitely a big-time receiving threat. I hate that we didn't use him as much as we should have at Michigan. But Michigan not really – I mean, there's been some nice wide receivers come out of Michigan, man, but not really known for his wide receiving core. But, Russ, I'm just glad we're not dogging Russ as much as we was early on in the season. It was looking like he was on the beginning of the end. He is playing good football for the most part. He just had a bad game that game. I'm hoping he have another bad game in a couple of weeks when they play us. I'm kind of worried about that game. But that defense is definitely improving. That is the key for Denver now. If they can continue to play good, solid defense and just get, some decent performances from Russ, the way the AFC is set up, it's still in the realm of possibility of them making the playoffs.
Yeah, because it's like with the Denver Broncos, they gave up 70 in one game, and within the last 6 games, they only gave up like 102 yards, man. I mean, 102 points all in total in like 6 games. So that's really impressive, man, just that turnaround on that defense. I feel like, man, I'm afraid for to face them dudes when we got them coming up too. But that's a good team. But I have to give credit to the Texans, and then with everything that just went on this week, man, they possibly can end up winning that division.
I agree. It's in the realm of possibility.
Damn, this one was kind of a stinker too on other reasons, but we're gonna talk about this game though, because it's a team that actually right now, if I'm not mistaken, they lead right now in the AFC, the Miami Dolphins versus the Washington Commanders. It's a lot of stuff going on over there too, man. I just feel like right now, Ron Rivera's on a hot seat. They already got rid of Jack Del Rio. And then the offense is not doing well, man. He probably tried to even get Eric Bieniemy out of there before his time is up. But at the end of the day, I've been hearing rumors about Bieniemy going to another team anyway who was interested in him. But, man, 45-15 was the final score. Tua played okay, man. 2 touchdowns, 280 yards. But it wasn't really nothing spectacular. It was just that the Washington Commanders are that bad, man. What is your thoughts on that game and the outcome?
I mean, in the end, the Commanders are who we think they are. They just placeholding. Every week somebody got to play a team that don't have no business really being in the NFL right now. Those teams, we pretty much know who they are this time of year. You got your Jets, you got your Patriots. The Commanders right about there. They might be one of the better not good teams, but they still one of the not good teams. Remember, they are under new ownership now. They done paid all that money for the Washington Commanders. They're going to end up not only changing the name again, but they definitely going to end up changing the coach again. It's just a question of, do they wait till Black Monday or do they go ahead and cut the cord early? I say they might as well go ahead and ride it out. I mean, give Ron Rivera that respect, He did survive cancer and all that. Don't put that on his heart to have to contend with this time of year, because you do have to remember, while we want our coaches to get booted, it is that time of year. Granted, these people make millions of dollars, but it's still a lot to have to contend with having been fired around Christmas time or around the end of the year,
Yeah, that's a hard situation too, man. I'm starting to look at the situation that's going on, man, and I know you're gonna laugh at this, man. I didn't think that this division on the NFC South was gonna be as bad as it was last year, but it's just as bad. Maybe it's worse, I think, than it was last year.
It is worse.
Because, if it wasn't for that spectacular play from Mike Evans, that it's probably could have been a different story because at the time the Carolina Panthers was controlling this game, and the end result was Tampa Bay pulled it off 21-18. But do you think right now that Todd Bowles' seat is hot too, and he's going to be one of those candidates on Black Monday?
I do not. I do not. I think his job is safe, and it's only safe because they're playing just well enough to maybe win that division. I mean, as crazy as that division look, I can see somebody being 7-10 and winning that division. It's that bad. But no, because there will be positions open and not so many candidates to get, unless, of course, they have somebody in mind already. And remember, we heard that rumor from earlier. Again, cannot help but mention the name Harbaugh in these discussions because every week now there are rumors. And as you will hear, if I ain't already did that part of the show by the time we do this, I definitely say Harbaugh is leaving regardless of what happens in the college playoff, period. But like I said, we've been discussed that by the time this part of the show airs. But anyway, when all is said and done, I think Bowles is safe for now. And even not, he is such a good person at being a defensive coordinator when given the proper personnel. I definitely see somebody picking him up in that role once again, even if he is bad. But again, the NFC South it's not good. It's really, really not good.
Crazy enough, too, is the fact that he's still winning with less than what you would normally have, on that team. A lot of the guys left, because they couldn't financially keep him on the team. And we thought that Baker Mayfield was going to be like at the bottom of the totem pole, but at the same time, that whole damn division is on the bottom of the totem pole.
Right.
And,
Baker doing just enough to where you got to consider him for comeback player of the year. You really do.
Agree. He definitely has been doing better than what I expected this year with a decent team over there. I want to get to the Los Angeles Rams and Cleveland Browns. This game right here basically surprised me too because the Los Angeles Rams are still mathematically in it. And it was a game where I think that Stafford, is probably as healthy as he's been in a while, man. He had 279 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Puka Nacua has definitely been, really good over there as well, man. You look for Cooper Kupp to do well, but man, nobody expecting. I think, like we said before in the past, it was a blessing in disguise to have, when Cooper Kupp went down to see what they had on that roster and see how well Puka Nacua is playing right now.
Again, the Rams seem to be getting it together at just the right time of year. You know what I'm saying? They was pretty beat up early on. Stafford wasn't healthy. I question if Stafford is ever really going to be 100% healthy ever again. I think some of his issues are just nagging injuries that he just playing through. On a good day, Stafford is at least a fringe Hall of Fame type quarterback. So anytime he has a good day like that, it's good. But remember, if you can pressure him, he will make a mistake somewhere down the line. It's just a question of when. He's always been like that. We know that better than anybody. But
absolutely.
Out for the Rams. They may just mess around and make them playoffs. As far as the Browns go, I hate what didn't happen to the Browns with them having to struggle to find a healthy quarterback and all that. We know that defense is really, really good for Cleveland, but you're not going to be able to get far in the playoffs in the AFC with just defense. Y'all got to have something to work with.
Sad part about it is they got to deal with that contract too with my man Deshaun Watson, and he hasn't been healthy ever since he got that.
Well, like I said, one thing we do know is based on that contract and how it went for him and for your boy over there in Minnesota. I don't think we ever gonna see any quarterback get a fully guaranteed contract ever again after this.
That won't surprise me. Man, one of the game we was all waiting for, man, on Sunday. The San Francisco 49ers went into Philadelphia and played the Eagles, and they beat the crap out of them. I definitely felt like I called 49ers winning, but I didn't think they were just going to really like put it on them like that. I understand right now Jalen Hurts is not 100%, and he definitely hasn't been playing healthy. They had a lot of games that they had to play in the last 3 weeks, man, and I still feel like right now that game still looked to me like San Francisco, man, is basically who I thought they were, man. And I definitely called them being one of the teams in the Super Bowl coming out of the NFC, and I'm still looking at it that way.
I picked Eagles and Chiefs. They making me look bad these last couple of weeks. Both of them is. But yeah, the Eagles did look really tired in that second half of that game. On the other hand, San Francisco, if they play like they played last week, there is no team in the National Football League that will beat them. They will be the champions. If they play like that from this point forward, nobody's stopping that. Because keep in mind, I don't even think that's the best game they got left in them. There were some things they did that they definitely could work on. But just based on what we saw of that, Shanahan got some other tricks up his sleeve. Remember, it did really make you think. If they would have had a healthy quarterback in that championship game last year, what we have been talking about, Eagles going to the Super Bowl, hell, the damn Chiefs even have won the Super Bowl against that squad. Because it's pretty much the same squad outside of Chase Young.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. To see Purdy just put up those numbers on that Eagles defense, man. That front,
them was some nice numbers. Those were good numbers.
Man, and then McCaffrey played like how we thought he was gonna play, man. He was a battering ram. And then Deebo Samuel was the X factor, man. Even though Brandon Ayuk scored, but all eyes was on Deebo, and it wasn't like he was catching them deep passes or nothing. He was catching like slants, and he was just killing them on the yards after catch. He bullied those guys, man. And they definitely embarrassed the Philadelphia Eagles, and I expect for them to bounce back. But man, it's just like it's not getting any easier for them going down the line too, man. Especially next week. But yeah, man, I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen now because that game definitely shook up the NFC.
Right now, there was that one incident in the game, that the whole little melee with the 49ers player and the security person with Philly.
Green, yeah.
I really don't think either one of them should have got tossed. I mean, it looked like he kind of took a swipe at him, but it really wasn't that big a Donnie. I mean, I definitely could justify that more than what we saw with the whole LeBron and Doka situation in the NBA last week when they both got tossed. That was just stupid. All they was doing was talking crap to each other. That wasn't that big a deal.
They do text on people in the NBA for no apparent reasons, man. That's why I'm to the point where you see some good games in the NBA, but then you see a lot of bad stuff going in the NBA, man. And that's where I stand right now, man. I usually don't really look fully into it until the football season's over with. But even at this point, there's been a lot of bad calls and things going on in football too, man. It's been a mess in both, man. And they're going to have to figure a way to straighten out the throwing people texts where, if I just get upset about a call, in the NBA and the bad officiating in the NFL altogether, man.
I mean, some of the things they call as roughing penalties is bad. Some of the taunting penalties in particular are just stupid, okay? Let them guys have a little fun. Dang.
I'm glad you mentioned that, too, because we about to go right into it, man. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers pulled off the upset victory 27-19. But in that game, man, it was the pass interference. First off, I know people were pissed off when, Patrick Mahomes was doing the tightrope and he wasn't out of bounds and then he got hit. on the sideline, and then they called roughing the passer. Did I feel like that was a roughing the passer? No. If you still in the green, they trying to stop you from getting the first down. But then it was like, man, you guys turn a naked eye on the pass interference where Marquez Valdez-Scantling clearly that dude was getting piggyback ride, and after that happened, when they didn't call anything, then they turned around when the Hail Mary was thrown. You literally seen my man's Travis Kelce get pushed in the back. And it's like, man, you couldn't justify all of the things that happened, but it was just so bad that it was like, why isn't the referees not getting fined for not calling the calls that they need to call and the things that they need to take care of? You're literally seeing this stuff, man. I know I'm not blind, and I know if I can see it sitting down in my house, man, in the comfort of my own home, you should definitely be seeing what the hell's going on that field, man.
Man, even our girl Tay knew them was some bad calls. Even she was reacting to some of that. You like that your girl Tay was at the game here?
Not really. I did like the fact that they took the L with her at the game.
Y'all know I always got to mess with him about Tay. But look, understand, Kansas City in a bad place right now. And, you know, I have been getting on some of my family members that's on the page about them dogging out their team so much. But I'm starting to see some of the things that they seen. And you could tell it was a couple times in that game where Mahomes was very frustrated. Very, very frustrated. It's not just the drops that's going on. I think some people running the wrong routes. I think some people not going with the impromptu plays that they set up. You know how they like to practice those during practice? I mean, understand, Travis Kelce can only do so much. He having a hell of a year.
Yeah.
I mean, not just off the field, but actually on the field, he having a hell of a year. But when all is said and done, they got to find a way to correct these things sooner than later because it's almost playoff time. And remember, Kansas City has yet to play a road playoff game in the Mahomes era. But I think at the rate they're going, they about to find out what that's like.
And it ain't going to be good for them neither. I definitely feel afraid for him right now, man, because them receivers need to step up, man. And I think this is the year that we definitely see more than anything that the Tyreek Hill not being there, you know, is an X factor. Because before people was like, well, you know, Hugh, they won without him. Yeah, they did, man. They had just enough servable wide receivers. I was surprised that Marquez Valdez-Scantling played decent last year and wasn't as bad at dropping the balls. But then we see why he's not with Green Bay anymore. All the things that happened in Green Bay starting to show his ugly face now while he's there in his second season.
Hold on, before we even move on, let us please make sure we put some respect on Green Bay's name. I think, you know, because last week was like, damn, how we lose to Green Bay? I'm starting to understand now. Green Bay is definitely improving. Shout out to Jordan Love. He's showing that maybe he was that dude. And maybe that's why they got rid of Rodgers and wasn't pressed about it. He looked like he might be ready for the big time. He definitely playing better than some of these other people that's been inserted into the lineup. I like a lot of what he did in that game.
Because he definitely outplayed Patrick that game too, man. His performance was. Yeah, man, and then big ups to Rashad Gary, man, because every time I turn around, he in the quarterback face getting sacks, man. So yeah, that defense, man, for all the pieces they missing and all the pieces in general that are injured, who's not playing. Just imagine if they had all of that right now, man.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely.
You said Rashad Gary.
Mm-hmm.
What team did that dude play for? You need a hint?
No, sir. Hey, but you know, he was crying too at the end of the game. He always crying.
Man, you got to remember this time last year, that dude leg went on the other way. He was out for a nice little while.
He looked good though, man. He dropped that weight, and yeah, he's been on a whole nother level this season.
Absolutely.
Funny thing is too, man.
Once upon a time, he was the number one ranked high school player in the country.
Absolutely. The Monday night game, man, really surprised me. We didn't think that I didn't think that Jake Browning would be as good as he was, as fast as he was, man. I'm thinking it was gonna probably take him a little time. It was his chance, man, and he took that spotlight and ran with it. 354 yards and the score, but the team just was clicking around him, man. They looked good. You ain't miss a beat from Jamar Chase. T. Higgins was in the game, and Joe Mixon, man, was a really big surprise, man, with his 2 scores. But yeah, man, that was really a good game that came down to the wire. The Jaguars was able to get it into overtime, but unfortunately, Cincinnati Bengals pulled it out 34-31. And what I mean unfortunate about the whole situation is problems right now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. We don't know how long Trevor Lawrence going to be out. He shouldn't be trying to play hero ball because that injury definitely looked bad for him to slam his helmet and not even perform no more in the rest of the game. But yeah, man, it's a scary situation for them because how well they've been playing and momentum that they built. But at the same time, man, we know too, E, that you got the Texans breathing down their neck, man. That's why I said what I said about with the Texans, man. It might be able to change everything. And the AFC South, man, this is a huge situation right now with them, man, because the Texans might be able to steal that division now after this injury, depending on how long Trevor Lawrence is going to be out. And I want your thoughts on
word
that.
is he has that high ankle sprain. For those of y'all
Those
familiar
are
with
bad.
sports, particularly NFL, you never know how long that gonna go on. Some people get that high ankle sprain and they back in a couple weeks. Some people get that, boy, that's their season. I mean, it really, I mean, it's certain levels to it. It really depends on what your pain threshold is. Keep in mind, once upon a time, non-athletic injury, mind you, but I had that high ankle sprain. My foot was messed up for about a month and a half, and I was just doing regular working scenarios. I'm not out there running in from my life from 300-pound dudes and getting pounded on. So I can only imagine what that is. But in the meanwhile, the Texans do seem to have an opportunity to make something happen that no one thought they would be able to.
Yeah, they definitely look like they're gonna gag ground, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I had a high ankle sprain before, man. Working, I think I fell off. I was coming down my ladder, man, and I jumped down, not knowing where I was gonna land, and I fell for it, man. And that high ankle sprain, man, from a guy who's not playing and not athletic like the football players, man, that high ankle sprain lingered on for like a couple of months, man. You think it is okay, but you make a wrong move, and you still know that pain. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, that's definitely not. Hey, man, do you want to talk about these up and coming games for this week on the NFL? And we're gonna have to definitely exclude the Thursday night game. That won't be discussed neither. E, and you seen who playing Thursday night, right?
Before we go on to that, and of course, hopefully you'll leave us a little time to discuss your thoughts on the college playoff. But in the meanwhile, we got to do our little advertisement, and what we advertise around this time in the show. Let us go ahead and do that for my brother.
Find more from Hugh Lee on the Pure to the Game Sports blog or on his Guru's Perspective podcast on Spotify or Anchor Podcasts.
Yeah, before we move on, people, thank you. We have definitely been getting more viewership these last few weeks. We thank you, new viewers, and you people that's been consistently coming through. By the way, in that announcement, it says the True to the Game page, that is now the Sports Guru to You page. We need production to change that for us. When you get time production, we appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, we got you. But yeah, do please continue to support my brother Hugh and all his other endeavors outside the show.
Yeah,
we appreciate you and thank you. That being said, we are now about to move on to today's picks. Hold on, good people. Okay, I will look into that. All right. Yeah, we are moving on to the picks. Hold on, let me pull them on up, and then we will discuss who we like this week in the NFL. Actually, Hugh, before we start the NFL, it's only one real game of note in college football. Let me get your thoughts on that. Army-Navy game. What's your thoughts on the Army-Navy game?
I'm gonna hit the Army on this one, man. They've been winning for so long, man. Now you starting to see the tide turn, man. And I'm gonna definitely go with Army on this one. The funny thing is, we used to be so mad, man, at work, and that's all the games that we had to watch. But man, I'm actually looking forward to the Army-Navy game, man.
I like the pageantry of that game. I mean, I even like the fact that it's not always on Saturday. Sometimes it's on Friday. I think they had it on Sunday one time even. But, you know, I just like the whole rabble-rousery of it all. The fact that, you know, most times than not, those two teams may run the same 10 plays all game. But damn it, they don't work most of the time. It's some years they done had it to where they may have threw like 5 passes between the two teams. But it still was an entertaining-ass game just based on the different types of runs, the pitches, the shuffle pass, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to watching that game. I like Army-Navy every year. I'm going to actually go with the Navy. I just think this is going to be one of them years they win. I kind of want Army to win because, again, they do lose a lot. But I'm going to go with Navy.
A lot.
Okay, that being said, let us move on to the actual NFL picks. As we have stated, we are definitely skipping Thursday's game. If y'all must know who it is, it's the Patriots and the Steelers. Could care less. Neither one of them teams not, I mean, especially with Trubisky playing, we don't even need to talk about it. All right, we got the Buccaneers and the Falcons.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Bucks on this one, man. Well, they both funky teams, but I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
1.5. I don't understand why. I understand they at home, but still, Falcons is not falconing. I'm definitely going Bucks.
No.
All right. Of course, we got the Bears against those Detroit Lions, but it is in Chicago.
I'm gonna go under, man, but I'm gonna go with Detroit. I still don't really trust them, man, as far as they've been sluggish and a little too sloppy for me, man. And like you said before, with Justin Fields being one of them scrambling quarterbacks, they're gonna have a problem with them, man. It might just get down to like a funky score, like 20 to 23 or something of that nature. But yeah, I'm gonna just go slightly under that 3.5. But yeah, I'll definitely go with the Detroit Lions.
I will not decide on the over-under until that day because I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like in Chicago. Remember, it is outdoors. The Lions tend to play a little different outdoors. Jared Goff tends to play a little different outdoors. That being said, the Bears definitely going to feel some type of way after how we beat them a few weeks ago. I'm still going with the Lions, but based on how they've been playing, I could definitely see this being a close one. I think I will, though, take those 3.5 points. We got the Bills and the Chiefs next, live from Kansas City.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs, but I'm going to go under that 1.5. That's how bad things has been as of late.
Will Tay be in the building?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think he needed her support more than ever, man. They can't go back to back with 2 L's, man. So, yeah, but I don't know how that wide receiver core going to be, but I definitely think she's going to be there with Mama Kelsey.
Like I said, I'm not sure what the rest of her tour schedule is for the rest of the year. Clearly, if she's not on tour right now, she will be in the building, no doubt. Okay, we got Oh, taking the Chiefs, by the way. 1.5. I'm good with that 1.5. Okay. We got the Colts and the Bengals.
Man, I'm gonna go with your boy, man, Uncle Rico, man. I definitely like the way the Bengals played, and I know Jake Browning, man, ain't no joke now from what I've seen. But yeah, man, it's just something to saying that I think Uncle Rico, even though it's gonna be, you know, in the Bengals home stadium, but I'm surprised too to even see the over under, man, having Indy winning on the road. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with.
I would say again, weather is a factor. If the weather's bad that day, I'm going with the Colts. If the weather is just cold or whatnot, I'm going with the Bengals. I think it's that key in that game. All right, we now have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who will probably definitely be without Trevor Lawrence, against the Browns, and who knows who's going to be their quarterback this week.
Damn, I'm checking right now, man. They still got Trevor Lawrence, so I guess they hoping that he'll still be able to hobble his way on the field. But yeah, man. I'm trying to see who the hell the Browns gonna have, man. Because because you know it'll be the damn Deshaun Watson.
My guess
You
is
might
if
have
ETR passes
Joe Flacco.
concussion protocol, he'll probably be the starter.
Yeah, man. I'ma still go with I'm gonna go to Browns on this one, man. I'm gonna take those 3 points at home, man. 'Cause I don't know what the hell they're gonna do without Trevor Lawrence if they don't have him, and even if you do have him, man, what you gonna do against that Cleveland Browns defense?
Myles Garrett will eat that boy for lunch. Even if he's 90%, you got to let him heal up more than that. So that being said, I got the
Yes.
Browns all day, and Lord knows if CJ Beathard is the quarterback, yeah, it's gonna get ugly real quick. I think that's one of them barbecue chicken situations that Shaq talk about. But anyway, okay, Texans against them Jets.
I'm going with the Texans, and I'm going over that 3.5.
I think I will. They definitely will miss Dale, but again, based on what I see of the weather, whatever weather we get Saturday is the weather they will get in New York Sunday. Weather will be a factor into how many points the Texans score. It won't be a factor in them winning. Because at this point, I don't think we know who starts for the Jets this week either. Rumor has it that they actually want Zach to start again, but he kind of like, okay, I ain't trying to be here no more.
I think he's sold on doing it right now. I was watching The Insider before we got on the show, and then I think that he gonna definitely give it a try. But at the same time, man, I know you heard the talking heads, man, and I feel like exactly what they were saying, man. How you gonna say, I feel like I got options outside of you in the club. You go and try to get on every female you could in there. And then when things don't work out, you come back to me like, so was we going home or what?
Right. Again.
And I'm looking at you like, kidding me.
If I'm people like, say, and again, I'm gonna bring that name up. Some of y'all hate when I do it, but I got to. Y'all know who I'm going with. If I'm a Colin Kaepernick right now, if I'm a Cam Newton right now, do I feel some type of way about not getting that call to at least come do a couple games? I know I'm better than Zach Wilson. I know I am.
I mean, hell, they brought out Flacco, damn.
I'm just saying. Okay, I got Texas. Moving on. All right, here's a game that's probably going to be better than we first thought it would be. The Rams against the Ravens.
I'm going to go with the Ravens, but I'm going to go under.
All right. I, too, am going Ravens. And, yeah, I think I also will go under. I think that 7 might be a bit much. The Rams a little better than advertised late. Okay, Panthers and Saints, we can gladly skip. Vikings and Raiders, I would like to skip as well.
Appreciate it.
Seahawks and the 49ers.
I'm going over these points because remember I told you that incident with the one clown who said that he feels like Drew Lock is a good backup and they were going to split with San Francisco 49ers. I wish the 49ers can hear this conversation right now. I'm definitely going over that 10.5.
I don't know how healthy our guy is over there right now. If Drew Lock ends up starting that game or playing a good portion of that game, it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get real ugly. I
You
got the
can't be
90.
Philly like that. Yeah.
Okay, here's a game that might mean somebody's job. Broncos versus Chargers.
I'm gonna definitely go with the Broncos on this one, man, because I just don't feel like the Chargers even interested anymore in this year, man. Regardless, it's funny how the one time when we finally seen what the defense had to offer. Remember when Brandon Staley said he was going to do the defensive play calls, and they was lights out, but then the offense was sluggish. So I don't know where that interest level at right now, and I'm gonna definitely go with the Broncos on this one.
I too am going with Broncos, and I think this is the game that will finally decide the fate of Staley. If they're gonna fire him before the end of the year, it'll probably be after this game. If not, then I think he rides it out to Black Monday. But either way, he definitely gone. And then, of course, the game of the week so far, and that will be the Sunday night game. Thank you, NFL, for getting this one right. Eagles Cowboys.
I'm going with the Cowboys on this one, and I'm gonna take the points. I still feel like them boys after getting that licking, man. I don't think that they're gonna be able to recover.
Sadly, I must also take the Cowboys. I know y'all Cowboys fans like, why we hating? I know H2 up there above, like, come on, E. But y'all know why I'm hating, because after they win on Monday, skipping them just gonna be unbearable to deal with. And they're gonna be dogging my man Stephen A. They're gonna be all upside his head with it. But okay, here's the thing. There's actually gonna be 2 Monday night games this week, y'all. We get that bonus. Okay, first of all, let me ask you, which one would you rather watch, Hugh? The Titans Dolphins or the Packers Giants?
I'm going with the second game all day.
And I find it real interesting that they both actually are at the same time. That's a rarity. But if given a choice, I think I would definitely have to go to Titans Dolphins, because Packers Giants, not so much.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going Packers in that game. They got Dolphins by 13. You like them points?
I'm going on both of the points. I'm going with Green Bay on the 6.5, and I'm going Dolphins with the 13.
Based on what I've seen with Packers, I'm definitely going with the points for Packers. Miami, ooh, it is in Miami though. I can see it. All right, now we got 5 seconds left in our allotted hour, but I'm gonna let us go over because I do actually want to hear your quick thoughts on the college playoff. 2 quick questions, you. 1, did they get the right 4 teams? And 2, are we looking forward to both of the matchups in the semifinals?
I'm looking forward to the matchups, but at the same time, I still feel like, remember we talked about this yesterday, if I had to take a team out, it would have been Texas. And I know people probably like, wow, when they beat Alabama. Yeah, they beat Alabama early in the season, but you lost to an Oklahoma team that don't have no credibility right now. I definitely feel like at this point, it should have been Michigan, Washington. Then you could have put FSU in there, and then you could have put in Alabama. But the issue is, by FSU having a 3rd-string quarterback at the time, I don't think that that's going to be something that they were looking forward to. So that's why I believe they slid to Texas in, and it makes a lot of sense now, because if you don't have Jordan Travis in there, man, then I don't think that it's going to be worth you putting them in the bowl game. Because think about it, if they were to make it and they were the 3rd seed, and whoever they play, man, they're going to beat the brakes off of them, man, because I just don't trust the quarterback play right now. And that's why I think that made a lot to do with the decisions that they had, going forward.
Okay, we already know Florida State definitely got it gripe. Can we say that Georgia or Ohio State should have a gripe as well?
I can't even really be biased on this, man. You lost the championship game, and Michigan is the holders of that. They're the champions. Hey, Georgia had the chance to handle their business, and they came up short. I feel like it sucks, and we wasn't really happy about how they did the playoffs in the first place. I wish that they would have did what they're going to do next year. This season, it would have fixed everything, man. I still feel like it's going to be too many teams now, but still at the same time, man, you'll still give other teams chances because there's a lot of 10-2 teams that I've seen too, who I thought that who can compete with some of the top 4 teams that they ranked right now. So yeah, man, I think that it'll be better situated once they finally get everything done and then they start the new playoff system starting next season.
I agree. Okay. Again, the matchups we got Washington, Texas, we got Alabama, Michigan. Of course, we're not about to give any game analysis on any of that. We're not gonna pick no winners. The simple question is, do you like these matchups? Do you think these will be 2 good games?
I definitely do. Because Michael Penix has proved himself, and that's going to be a good matchup with him and Quinn Ewers. JJ McCarthy, man, has been proving himself, but was surprising the hell out of me too. We talked about this. I feel like Jalen Milroe finally made a place for himself, and it kind of got me to the point when I seen his post-game interview, and I was like, wow, man, because I know, and it's sad as hell because he knew everybody gave up on him, man, from the time he was benched after, the games he played until where he's at right now. That speech, did you hear that speech, man? You feel kind of bad for him at that point. And I think that's where he's getting all his anger and his hunger from, man. And I definitely feel like that's going to be a good matchup as well. It's just definitely going to be something to look forward to on New Year's, God's will.
All right. One last question. Of course, I want you to finish up by letting people know where they can find you at, who you got winning the Heisman, and let everybody know where to follow you at, bro.
I definitely going with Jay Daniels, man. I seen that dude's stats, and it's funny too because the talking head, I think Stephen A. Smith said he's seen a team that lost 3. I think most of the last few guys that lost 3 games got the Heisman Trophy, and I just think Jay Daniels was playing the best, man. Because when your boy got the Heisman Trophy, Joe Burrow, his numbers are kind of killing Burrow's numbers right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he come out of there with that Heisman Trophy. And Hugh.Lee6 is my TikTok page. Hoovy is my Instagram. And on there, I have my Lincoln Tree, which has the Sports Guru to Use, my Facebook, the new relaunch blog. And you can find me on every Tuesday at 1 o'clock on the Guru Perspective. And of course, you can see me too, every Wednesday on the Big Buck Sports Report.
Absolutely. Where you, of course, will catch the Guru's football session featuring, of course, Hugh Lee. Good job as always, Hugh. We appreciate it, brother. Go on ahead and catch you some dinner. Of course, we will give you a quick commercial break here on the show. Then we will come back and finish up. This is the Guru's football session as part of the Big Buck Sports Report. Y'all know how we do it. We're going to throw graphic back up, and then we'll be right back after this. Peace out, Hugh. What's going on, y'all? We are back with the Big Buck Sports Report. Of course, that was the Guru's football session. Hopefully you enjoyed it as always. Before we head on out of the show, we're going to talk some college football right quick on the way out. What's in the pot, Eric Buckner? Haha. Everybody likes when I play that game on paper. I definitely will have a what's in the pot for you sometime soon, Miss Pat. I do have a few things I want to throw in the pot and cook on. Be looking out for that on my Facebook page, people. But in the meanwhile, let's talk a little this college football for the sake of the audience and definitely for my partner, Miss Pat. Here we go. First of all, to answer your question from earlier, Miss Pat, let me see if I can scroll all the way back to that right quickly. If I can find it amongst the comments, because we definitely did some good back and forth there for a minute. Here we go. You asked what y'all feel about them paying the college football players. As you know, there's a report out that says that the NCAA, after this season, is going to start to allow the various colleges to start actually paying players for NIL, that is name and likeness, so that not only are they getting deals with other entities, but they will also be able to create deals with the actual universities themselves. That will be huge. I think it is something that was very necessary to do. The NIL situation already getting far out of hand, as I figured at one point it would be. I told you that the NIL, as we knew it, would definitely change somewhere down the line. I'm surprised it's this soon, but keep in mind, the transfer portal, people, the largest it has ever been for college football already. And understand the season ain't completely over yet. But just in one day, over 700 players from across the nation entered the transfer portal, okay? And all of them were not by any means scrubs. Some of the better players in the country have entered the transfer portal from some of the best schools in the nation, including some of the teams that are currently in the college football playoffs. Some of those guys have even entered the portal already. Season not even over. I heard the same thing, but the college will be getting paid more money, but I think that is good for the students. I mean, it's absolutely good for the students. Ms. Pat, as a person who went to college, one that was friends with various people in athletics in college, I definitely will say that this is long overdue. These people are player athletes, but it's not fair that their universities make billions. The NCAA makes billions of dollars, and these players are barely able to afford housing and something decent to eat. It is just wrong. It has been wrong. It will continue to be wrong until they correct that. Ms. Pat definitely agrees with that. I mean, in the end, these players need to make as much money as they possibly can. Again, they still won't get the idea deals I would like to see them get, but I definitely want to see that. And I'm definitely liking the fact that they're saying that they are definitely going to make it a fair and even playing field for both the male and female athletes. If you do not do that, this deal is a sham, okay? Title IX definitely needs to play into that. Just like a UConn Lady Huskies player may get more money because they have a better team, I definitely want the basic player at an Akron or a Tulane or some school like that to be offered some type of deal as well. It should be fair for all these student athletes, not just in the major sports either. So hopefully they will work that out in a way that is beneficial to all parties involved. And maybe that will save some people from going into the transfer portal, because obviously a lot of these kids have entered the portal because A, they want to play, and B, there are better deals for them out there at some of these other schools, and they want that fair share of the pie. Because as you know, the vast majority of student athletes will not go pro, ever. When I say the vast, I'm talking about 95% plus will never see not one day in professional sports. So this may be their only opportunity to get paid for being an athlete as well as a student. Okay? So please make that happen. Now, that being said, let's get into the college football playoff. We all know who the final four teams are by now. It is my Michigan Wolverines, the University of Washington Huskies, the Alabama Crimson Tide, and of course, the Texas Longhorns from the University of Texas. Those are the four finalists. The simple question to ask me, I guess, would be, do you feel like these are the four teams that should be in it? My answer, of course, is no, as many people have. But keep in mind, every year we have this issue where there is one team that didn't make it or one team that shouldn't have been in it. It has been a problem ever since they created this 4-team playoff system. Remember, before there was just the 2 teams that would go to the championship game, and that was even more unfair. Also, remember that next year they will be changing to the 12-team format. I honestly feel like that's too many teams, but I think it will cut out a lot of the unfairness in this process. Pat is saying, Michigan is my team. I love your shirt, but only thing about all the students are going to want to go to play sports because they want to get paid. Well, I understand that. I get what you're saying with that, Miss Pat, but I just think it's just fair to them for them to get paid. Like I said, these programs make billions upon billions of dollars on the backs of these kids. And a lot of these kids, outside of playing for that university, those 3 or 4 years will never see another dime of money playing sports ever again. I think it's only fair that they can get as much money as they can. Some of these people that's getting NIL deals, this will be the biggest deal they will receive in life, let alone during college. So if they can get that money, let them get that money. That's how I feel on that. But again, are these the 4 teams that should be in the playoffs? No. Like I said, Florida State being 12-0, having won a conference championship, it should have been a place for them somewhere in these playoffs. It was not. I understand the whole situation with the quarterback and them not having their Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback to play. And the thought process would be if you put them in this playoff under those conditions, they would get blown out pretty much by anybody they play. I still say if they manage to go 13-0, who knows what could have happened if you put them in there on a neutral site. But all in all, like I said, hopefully this is the last time we have these debates because, like I said, next year they go to the 12-team playoff, and a lot of this will be resolved. I mean, bottom line is we know there are really 3 tiers of football in college. There is, of course, the Power 5 conference tier. There's the other conference tier. Then, of course, there's the Division II and Division III and such. And those are different levels of football play, okay? So any playoff where all 5 major conference champions are not a part of that playoff was a scam to begin with. Next year, if this is next year, basically all the teams that are on the bubble that people are upset about, which would be your Florida State, your Ohio State, your Georgias of the world, they would be in the playoff, would not be an issue. Your Liberty would probably be in, being undefeated at 12-0. All these problems that some people are having with the playoffs should be resolved at that point. It also will make it for more games of note to be played. The other problem, of course, I'm now having with this time of year is, of course, now that we have all these bowls starting, people are considering their draft prospects. So there are already several people, including Caleb Williams, saying that, nope, I'm not playing in the bowl game. Can't risk getting hurt. Can't risk losing that money on the next level. I think since we playing players, I think at some point we're going to have to start having some incentive with the bowl games as well. Much like with the tournament in the NBA, I think they're going to make it to where if you play in the bowl game, you win, you get a little extra cut of something. I think that's the only way you can get some of these players to start playing in the bowl games. Otherwise, either they're not playing because they're going to the transfer portal, or they're not playing because they're going to the NFL and they don't want to mess up their money on that, so on and so forth. And, it all go back to a few years ago when a couple kids got hurt during the bowl games and messed things up for themselves. So ever since then, that's always a possibility. I mean, even with some of the teams that's in the college playoff, it's a possibility some of them might decide, no, I'm not playing. I can't risk it. So, they're going to figure that problem out also. But in the end, the new playoff format should definitely resolve these issues. Next, and before we head out, got to talk about the Heisman Trophy. Of course, the Heisman Trophy ceremony, I believe, is this weekend. We have our 4 finalists. We have, of course, 3 quarterbacks. That would be one Bo Nix, one Michael Penix Jr., and one Jayden Daniels from Oregon, Washington, and LSU, respectively. And then, of course, the one wide receiver, the 4th person that always seems to get invited, but we know not going to win. That would, of course, be Marvin Harrison Jr. Keep in mind, clearly the best receiver in the nation. Definitely a top 5 pick, in my opinion. Heisman Trophy winner? Absolutely not. Cannot see it, and it's not his fault. He didn't have the best quarterback, first of all. Second of all, a lot of the games they played in end up being blowouts, so his numbers weren't as inflated as they probably could have been if he had played the whole game in all those games. Again, to be a Heisman Trophy winner at receiver now, you have to have some outstanding numbers, and your team more than likely has to be on its way to the championship. He didn't hit those criteria, so no, definitely don't see him winning. That leaves us with the three quarterbacks. Daniels, who has the better numbers of the three. Penix, who is the only person that has an undefeated season to go to. And, of course, Bo Nix, who's basically been a quarterback in the NCAA, seemed like forever, having started the most NCAA football games at quarterback ever. Who do I think should win? I think Jayden Daniels should win. I don't think he will win. I think actually Bo Nix is going to win the Heisman. That is who I'm picking. Why Bo Nix? Just kind of a hunch. Just looking at the field and who's in it and whatnot, I just think that they're going to pick him. I think I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm going to say Bo Nix is going to pick. Like I said, if Jayden Daniels wins the Heisman, I'm not – basically, if any of those guys win the Heisman, I'm not mad, except maybe the exception of Harrison Jr. I really just don't see that happening. I just think they just granted him a trip to New York. That was good on them. With that being said, we are about to end another episode of the Big Buck Sports Report. We will be back on the air tomorrow here on Night Note Network with another episode of my new show, Up in Them Folks Business, where we are talking entertainment news. We're going to talk about, of course, the latest going on with Diddy. Going to have some talk about people like Taylor Swift. Going to have some discussion on that boy Nelly and a couple other folks. Going to talk a little Britney Spears as well. So tune on in tomorrow for Up in Them Folks Business, the pod show that talks about entertainment news and rumors and such. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that one as well. Until then, y'all, have a blessed evening. We do appreciate y'all tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week for the Big Buck Sports Report. Again, still working on making that outro. Until then, the intro is the outro. And I'm out, though. Deuces.